Oh, goodness me, people are here already. Am I really that anticipated? Oh, Jamie, Alvon, Elliot, and Ben, and anyone else who happens to be watching, hello to you. If I'm even live, I don't know, because OBS says I'm live, and then YouTube in the background is on a massive delay for some reason. So hello, and Anton as well. Oh, everybody's here, and I bid you all a very fond hello. I don't have stream water this month, but I do have a cup of tea, so... Now, am I loud enough? Because I have had to fiddle with the settings a little bit, so let me know if I can be heard. Yes, indeed, the YSC happened, Jamie. I'll put the chat on screen in a moment. I'm just trying to get through a pre-stream cup of tea, which I know is obnoxious as all hell, but, I mean... No. I'll finish it later. Thomas Fan 22, you are here as well. And Facecam, yay, it's working, oh my goodness. Good. Glad to hear everything's adequate and well and delicious. And this month we have the Anti-Jeff Brigade, so in case we have another nonsense festival, we have Elliot and others who can take them down in the most efficacious manner. 8 viewers, wow. I don't know how to respond to that, Mr. Ludigaga. I was trying to think of a witty response and nothing came to mind. Ice Dale 64, hello to you as well. Yeah, Tom... Well, okay. I've been referring to this guy here as Slovenian Thomas, even though I'm 90% sure that's just Thomas as in Thomas the Tank Engine, so I'm fairly sure that's not your real name, but I've been calling you Slovenian Thomas in my head, so hello. And in all fairness, the Faroe Islands was winning the YSC for like half the votes, and then all the points just kind of stopped and you dropped down to 15th, which is sad because you got my 10 points and my 12 points in the semi-final, and that's why a lot of people are here for the full semi-final results, and I shall not disappoint. So, how's everyone doing, anyway? Because it's... Oh. First of all, it's the 3rd of July, it's the first Sunday of the month, and it's also the last day before America starts getting really obnoxious and insufferable with their Independence Day celebrations, and... is that, like, Jura as in, like, the Slovene version of Yuri as in Yuri Potsman, or... Mad Hat Swag? Well, glad to deliver on that front. A vacation... I would question that, but I suppose that makes sense, because Slovenia and Croatia are, like, right next to each other. And... Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that, Jamie, because typically football and Eurovision tend not to intersect, because fans of one tend not to be fans of the other, unless they're fans of both, in which case they are, which was a completely pointless thread of conversation on my part. Okay, well, fair enough with the stuff that's happening down here while I gesture at the chat. Hopefully I won't have to download the stream and edit out some nonsense, because last month's bonus stream I had to download the stream archive and then, well... A lot of you were here for that anyway, so don't mind me while I just finish my pre-stream cup of tea. Now, something I've never understood. Why does it say you on the other side of this mug? I mean, you can't really see because of the bloody screen glare, but like... Nyeh. Yo! But yeah, it's because apparently the Icelandic goalkeeper directed the video for Never Forget or something. Which is kind of a surprise, but yeah. I do hope my consuming tea doesn't come up too loudly on the microphone, because I've heard it in post, and it is hella obnoxious, but it's tea, though! Where would I be without tea? Ugh. Huh. I would say, how can you burn your foot at a water park, but I suppose, like, friction and stuff, or something? I don't know. Science happened. Good shit. That's some good shit right there. Right there, that's what I'm talking about. If I do say so myself, I do say so. Good shit. So, as promised, I do have the, okay, that makes sense. I've been to places where there's hot floors. Acidic water. Congratulations, Anton. Anyway, yes, I have the YSC results, and I'm ready to switch over to those when people are good and ready for them, because... Well, Jamie's got the finger on the button, as always. So, yeah, I did arrange the results on screen in such a way that, like, the choice was either have the results easy enough to read, but only one screen at a time, or have both semi-finals up at once, but harder to read. And so I've gone with... You know what, I should probably just not try to explain it and just bring up... Okay, first of all, first semi-final. Now, I should mention that I don't know how easy that is to see, so you may have to full screen it, but I use the ISO country code abbreviations, like the two-letter abbreviations is for countries. So the columns, so like the letters along the top row are each country as they voted, and the letters... I get it, Jamie. You're clever. And then in the leftmost column going down, those the receiving countries. So, for example, the very, very top left, 10 points was given to the USA from Antarctica. So that's just how to read my notes there. And the black ones with the white X's is this person did not vote. And I don't know if AC is an official country code for anywhere in particular, but I've been using it as the abbreviation for Antarctica, so everywhere has a two-letter country code. Also, I just realised I should probably put the background music on, because I meant to, and then I didn't. So let me know if that's too loud or whatever, because I haven't tested it, so... But yeah, so, first of all, let me know if my background music's too loud, but, Spain did actually get quite a lot of, like, high scores in the first semi-final, so I'm very surprised that they didn't qualify in the end. And, yeah, this is something that I've been saying to my parents and to Europe's Gallo 8, because she did a live reaction to it. AX is the Åland Islands. So, yeah, I was saying to both my parents and Europe's Gallo 8 that even though Norway got the most points in the second semi-final, or out of all the semi-finals, that's not really fair to say, because Norway got 116 points, but Belgium got 100 in the semi-finals. That's 100 points that could have gone to other people and didn't, because it was a song that was disqualified. I mean, 412's disqualified, that's kind of sad. So, does anyone have any other questions about what the abbreviations are? Because I've been using them since the contest started, so I'm, like, fluent in all of them, but I know for some people it might be difficult. And I'll linger on the screen for as long as necessary, because there's another screen like this for the second semi-final, and I can switch over to that when everyone's good and ready, but you could take a screenshot and post it in MS Paint and then look at it to your heart's content or whatever. Now, in the semi-finals, the columns where all the votes are given, these are from left to right in order that they were cast, except for Portugal and Turkey, because I put them at the very end because they're not competing in the semi-finals, they're just voting in them, so those are on the far right, but everyone else is in order from, like, the order they voted in. So, I was the first to vote, followed by Thomas, and then, yeah. Oh, that's really considerate, Alphon. Is the contrast not high enough? Yeah, Belgium was disqualified for failing to vote, which is sad. And, yeah, that's one thing that I considered. Like, I think... hang on. I think if Belgium had voted, they would have had to give the Faroes top points, or else the Faroes wouldn't have qualified. And if the Faroes had qualified, then Canada wouldn't have done it instead. So, that's how that worked out in the end. And it must be sort of a bit more heartening for, Iraq, because they only got 8 points, but they didn't come last because Belgium was there to take the fall by failing to vote. We've had that before. I think I mentioned it in one of my previous streams, how there was one YSC where the USA got 0 points, but they didn't come last because 2 people got disqualified that edition, so they got no points, but they didn't come last. And it was always sad when someone doesn't vote, and the kind of the most aggravating thing with Belgium is Finland and Belgium, because they were together. They didn't vote, and then after the semi-final results, they sent me a message saying, whoops, sorry I didn't vote, and I said, okay, we'll try to vote in the final. And then they said, okay, I'll try. And then that was the last I've heard from them. So that was kind of tragic. And me personally, I'm just happy, like, I'm assuming we've all seen the final results, by the way, so this is kind of horribly spoilerific for those who aren't aware, so, yeah. But I'm really happy to have got Antarctica their first ever qualification, and also their highest placing in the contest ever. I'm just really proud of that, because this is my second time as Antarctica, because I sent someone who'll get it, and then wherever you go, and then the entire year before that was Europe Scala 8, so on my 2 attempts as Antarctica, I got their 3rd highest, and then their 1st highest placing, and so I'm really proud of myself for that. And while we're here, I suppose I should mention, this month's YSC, like, YSC 29, will have semi-finals, because we've got 30 songs already. And yeah, okay, I suppose I should explain how Antarctica works, because it is kind of complicated, but kind of also not. So, Antarctica, in the real world, is kind of, like, there are 7 countries that own, like, little bits. Antarctica is AC. I don't know if there's an official abbreviation for it, so that's just what I've been using. Also, it's kind of a pun, because air conditioner and it's cold. But yeah, Antarctica, in the real world, has, like, there are 7 countries who own, like, a bit of Antarctica, so Antarctica can borrow from those well, okay, 7 countries have Antarctic territories, and so that's how I determine which ones Antarctica can borrow from. So that's the UK, France, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, Chile, and Norway. And technically Norway owns 2 bits of Antarctica, so yeah, that's very true, Jamie. The thing is, Chile, as its own country, has only taken part in the YSC once, and they came 5th and then withdrew, but we've had the Chilean group Kevin, Carla y la Banda represent Antarctica twice, and they did really badly both times, which is kind of sad. And Argentina have so consistently come close to qualifying and then never quite made it, and it's kind of sad. But yeah, in the next edition, everyone only gets 1 song, but that's still 30 songs. But apart from, the winner of this edition gets 2 songs. But okay, I had someone ask me if it's fair that the winner of this edition gets 2 songs and auto-qualifiers in the next edition. How's everyone else feeling about that? Because that's what I was going to do, but I don't know. Like, I've been asked if I think it's fair, and personally I think it is, but I might as well ask the people, he says, gesturing at the camera, even though the camera's not on at the moment. Yeah, because my plan was, everyone sends 1 song, but the winner sends 2. Everyone has to compete in semi-finals except for the winner. I think that sounds fair, but, I mean, it's whatever. I'll adjust things as necessary if people disagree, so yeah, see, that's what I thought. Just, there are people out there who worry. And do let me know when y'all are ready for me to switch to semi-final 2. Yeah, that's what I was saying, is we just have this massive majority in favour of, yeah, it's fair to kind of, you know, well, the majority seems to be in favour of auto-qualifying and giving them 2 songs. It's just, I mean, the thing is, the standard prize for winning the YSC is getting 2 songs, and it would kind of suck to give them 2 songs and then possibly have neither of them be in the final. That would be kind of fucky, but well, it is something that I've thought about. If I say Yuri, is that correct, or should it be more Yure or Yuri, or I don't know. Slovene is a language that happens sometimes. Perhaps I could have it so that the top 1 gets 2 countries, and then places 2nd and 3rd auto-qualify, or the top 5 auto-qualify, but 1st place gets 2 songs or something. I've got a load of proposals that I could consider. I've forgotten already how I said it the second time. There must be a little bit of stream delay, but that's just how it goes. Accidental reference to one of the songs that I sent back in the day. Oh yeah, that's one beautiful thing with the YSC. Even though in actual Eurovision, Sweden is just always at the top of the scoreboard, in the YSC, Sweden has never won. They've never even placed in the top 3. And a Swedish song did win once, but that was for the Åland Islands, so it is kind of beautiful, in my opinion. Just to... Because in the YSC, people don't get overhyped about the song for no particular reason. Oh, shots fired. You know how I feel. If you're watching one of my streams, you probably know how I feel about Sweden, so... And... Right, is everyone ready Is everybody ready for me to switch over to semi-final 2? Or are we still admiring these sets of results as they are? Because either way, I mean, you can go back and watch the stream archive and pause and watch to your heart's content and stuff, so it's all biscuits and kibbles, which is things. It's true, although, in fairness, Åland has won once with a Swedish song and placed third with a Swedish song, and... Oh, wow. So, just like in real Eurovision, there are people who accidentally need their voting. Well, it happens. I don't think it would have changed... Well, I don't think it would have actually changed results all that much anyway, so... Well, I've seen two people expressing favour of advancing to semi-final 2, so unless there are any huge objections right now, I shall hit the button in, like... 3... 2... 1... I see no objections, so I'm going to change over... Now. So semi-final 2. Sorry if you're in the middle of watching that, but... I mean, want to show both semi-finals because fairness. And... Before anybody asks, GI is Gibraltar. I thought it would be like GX or something, but no, it's GI. Because typically, territories that aren't independent, but that... I don't know, places like Åland, for example, their initials tend to be something X, just because... I don't know. But in this case, Gibraltar is GI. To be fair, Ireland was a nice novelty, even though... And, yeah, a couple of others. Switzerland, I'm actually surprised by how badly Switzerland did, because I thought, of the two, because Switzerland was partnered with Liechtenstein. Oh, also, the columns are in the same order, so... Like, Australia is partnered with the Faroe Islands, who were the second column, and Japan and Antarctica is the same column and stuff. So, yeah, Sandstorm was kind of popular. So... Latvia kind of surprised me, because throughout the second semi-final, Iceland was in the final, and then the last couple of votes changed it so that Andorra moved from 9th to 10th. No. Yes? No. Then Latvia moved from 11th to 9th, and Iceland moved from 9th to 11th, so... Oh yeah, that was Russia, I believe. That was a fun time. That song was a thing that happened, unless I'm misremembering. Wait, because the scoreboard's really small on my screen, so I'm trying to lean forwards and see. Wait, hang on, where am I looking? I can't find my... I've dropped my face, and I don't know where I've put it. Steady on with the underrated, because there's one guy, and it would be nice if he was watching, because he's been with the YSC for, I think, as long as the YSC's been running, but there's one guy who, in every results video, always comments, so-and-so overrated, so-and-so criminally underrated. Like, it's weird how consistent these things are misrated, and in this instance, he just put that his own songs were underrated. And I can kind of agree, although, to be fair, I can't remember how the Monaco song went, and the Taiwan song was fun, but... Nyeh. And I did change my mind about the UK song several times, and ultimately when it came to voting I ended up giving them... I believe that's 6 points, it's been a while since I voted, yeah. Yeah, I gave them 6 because it made me feel sentimental. So... difficult to read these from distance. How do I decide the running order? In the shows themselves, I kind of do what they do at Eurovision and just think, okay, what would sound best? Like, if this song is placed between these two other songs, will that make it stand out more? And that's how I decide the running order. I used to completely randomize it, and now I randomize it a little bit, but it's mostly just producer-led, deciding what sounds best. And in the case of the voting, I just put the votes in the order that I received them. So this must seem so strange to people who are just tuning into the stream out of nowhere and have no idea what's going on. Like, there are all these people in the chat who understand this perfectly, and then there are some people who are just tuning into the stream like, what the hell is this? There's this scoreboard, there's a lot of red, well, it's more of like a cherry purple or whatever. And just a brief word on the colours that I've used for the scores. I've seen on the Song Contest wiki, where all the YSC pages live, there are some contests that use non-standard colours for, like, gold, silver, and bronze, and last. And it's... like, I feel like they should just use the standard colours, because the non-standard colours are really hard to... like, there are some where they use, like, bright neon yellow, like, perfectly, I think... 255-2550 yellow, or I think in hexadecimal that's like FFFF00, I think? The brightest yellow you can, and it's so hard to look at, and they use like bright orange for third place, and a really dark grey for second place, and like you can't read the tables when you're using those colours. And low-key, I kind of wasn't a fan of Gibraltar. I see the appeal, and I understand why I got so many points. I didn't like it personally, but I mean, more power to the people who did give it points, because... I mean, to be fair, this was a really close edition. This was, I think, the closest. We've had the highest scoring last place in the final, ever. And actually, funny story with the final. Latvia was last throughout the, throughout the entire... well, okay. In the final, Australia was last throughout most of the voting because I gave them 1 point and no one gave them anything for ages, but then, once Australia started getting points, Latvia was just consistently last until the very, very, very last set of points from Moldova-Belarus, which is Elliot here in the chat if he's still here. And because he gave 12 to Latvia, that gave Latvia enough points to tie with Andorra, and because more people had given points to Latvia, that allowed them to win that tie, because that's a point. For those who don't know, in the YSC, I do tiebreakers the way they do in actual Eurovision. So, first priority is who got points, well, who got more points. Okay, they do well. My second priority is who got points from more countries. So if you got like 3 5s and someone else got a 10 and a 5, then the 3 5s wins the tie because they got points from more places. And then the third priority is who got more 12s, and then who got more 10s, and so on and so on and so on. And if that's exactly identical all the way down, then you have to use the running order, because that's Eurovision protocol. Well, in truth, I did try the traditional Eurovision showing the results one country at a time thing in the very first edition, and it took a long time to put together, and even now, like back then, it was just a slideshow of images. It was completely silent. It was kind of crap, and it's really difficult to follow. And if I were to do it now, I wouldn't be able to animate it because my video software can't really keep up with that many layers of animation at once. So I do it the way I do just because... Plus, as well, it's kind of like with actual Eurovision, where if you just show the scoreboard where it's like so-and-so gives 12 points, and it's like 12 points to the same country over and over again, then there's not really any suspense. Now, I did think about doing the Eurovision-style scoreboard in the final of this edition, showing the votes from the finalists, like the finalists only, and showing the scoreboard that way, and then saying, okay, and then the non-finalists gave X points to so-and-so, and then, like, having the results presented like that, if you know what I mean. So kind of like, as if the finalists were the Eurovision juries, and the non-finalists were the Eurovision televote, you know, that kind of presentation. But I ended up not doing that because it would have been too complicated to animate and my computer wouldn't be able to keep up. And Scoreboard 2.0, well, it wouldn't really... If that's what I think it is, I don't think that would work well, like, visually. Because the system that I used, like, where it is with the flags and the colours and stuff, I developed that over a load of editions of the YSC, and I know it's not perfect as it is, but it's as good as it's gonna get, I feel like. So, much as I would like to have it properly animated, for the moment, until I get better editing software, it's just gonna stay as it is, and honestly, I've grown to like the score, like the final results videos as they are, because if you watch the results videos over every edition of the contest from the first up to the present, you can see a kind of evolution in how I present the results, and it gets decidedly better as you go along. And so I think as it currently is, in my opinion, it's probably the best way of using it. I currently use Camtasia, I think it's Camtasia Studio 8, which is kind of buggy as fuck, but it gets the job done, so... Plus it comes bundled with a screen recorder, which I kind of need for my Let's Plays and stuff. I am looking into getting Sony Vegas at some point. Like, I was looking into, okay, the two major programs that YouTubers use are either Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas. And I was looking into the two, and the internet seems to think that Adobe Premiere is better, but you have to pay a subscription fee to that, whereas with Sony Vegas you only have to pay for it once, so I'm leaning towards that. Oh, I'm sure I'm not the first person to do it the way that I did. Honestly, I'm surprised at the US one as well, but, like, I'm pleasantly surprised because I thought... Because, right, in the final, Slovakia and the Faroe Islands were, like, fighting for first place, and then the Faroe Islands kind of slipped down lower. I think Antarctica was second at one point, which was kind of nice. But, eventually the USA kind of snuck upwards and sort of challenged Slovakia for the win, and I thought, nah, Slovakia's probably going to win. And so when we had 3 sets of votes to go, I think Slovakia was winning. And then with 2 sets of, like, the anti-penultimate, so the third last set of votes, changed it so the USA was winning, and then the second last set of votes put Slovakia back in the lead, and then the last set of votes put the USA back in the lead again. And I'm surprised, even though the same thing happened in the semi-finals, more or less, because that's a funny thing. So first and second place in the final were first and second in the first semi-final, and then third place in the final was third in the second semi-final, so that was weirdly serendipitous. And I've got to give credit to Canada for being consistent, coming 9th with 67 and 68 points in both shows. That's clever. That's also Åland Islands. This time and in the last special edition, in the 24th edition, both times they placed 4th with 87 points. So, and then they went on to be on the top of the scoreboard in the final. Except in this edition, it was the top of the bottom end of the scoreboard. Typical USA, going full Leroy Jenkins, and I didn't, I'm afraid, with the whole Slovakian heritage thing, but I kind of looked into it a little bit and I just kind of gave up because, I mean, it's done, we've had the results now, I've sort of stopped caring. I'll just be more vigilant in the future. And I've not heard of Head of Delegation Simulator. Also, I'm having to really, like, focus to say the word delegation, because, like, I could say it fine by itself, but the phrase head of delegation, like, trips up my tongue and I can't say it, even though I've said it fine twice now. By the way, I'm just going to go back to regular facecam now, if everyone's okay with that, because we've seen the results now. Burp. I can put them back on later if people want them back, so... Hello, you can look at my face again, I'm still here, I've been here the whole time. If anyone wants me to bring the results back up, then I will, but for the moment you're just stuck with this lovely visage. Well, I may well do, it's just I hadn't heard of it. Oh, autocorrect, back at it again with the tests. Test. Testing the tests. Tessellating hexagons. I was called that was... Which reminds me of, there was one time where... When I was doing my LP of Undertale, and I had an open call for voice actors, one of the people who auditioned referred to me as Hexagonal Willy Wonka. And that kind of stuck with me because that amused me. I'm okay with this. It's something that I'll look up after the stream anyway. Maybe do it as part of Wednesday's stream or something. Because, I don't know. I kind of don't want to take a break from Pokemon, but I don't know. It depends on how other people... Would people rather see me play that, or just carry on with Pokemon until it reaches its natural conclusion? Because, for those who didn't see this week's Wednesday stream, ooh, dearie me, I'm going to need to do some serious grinding of my team at some point. Don't know whether that'll be on stream or not. I think the whole point of a stream is to play games that take ages to get through, so yeah, I'll improvise like I always do, and continue breaking the rules of my lazy-ass Nuzlocke. An ass Nuzlocke, now there's a mental image. You keep using your ass until you can't use it anymore, and you have to buy a replacement because there's a crack in it. I might do it as like a one-off video then, in that case. It will be a fun thing. There was one time that I did Tocataliva Arga on a stream, and that was kind of... I don't know how people felt about that, because that was a fairly short game as well. The difference is, I made it, and it was crap, and I know it was crap, but it was still a thing that I streamed at some point, so... Perhaps I could. We shall see. We shall see. Now that I'm... Well, even though I've been home for several months now, now that I'm back home, at some point I do kind of want to bring back the Games with Mama Hex series, because that's a thing that I can do, because the mother lives in the same house as I do, so I can play games and she can join me, and that's a fun thing, because I did say I wanted to make that a series, but I was only able to record 2 episodes of it before I had to go back to university, and now I'm back home, and I have been for several months. So... nothing really happened with it, because I'd never bothered, like, uploading it to anywhere, or I haven't bothered playing it. It's just this little silly game that I made, and it wasn't very good. And in what context, Lady Gaga? Or shall I just go with Lady Gaga? Like, a name for an artist that is good, or the name of a good artist, is kind of the question on my lips here. If you just zoom in really close on my mouth, you'll see that there is just that question tattooed on my lips. Because that is a weird expression. Did I finish my tea? I did. I'm sad. Ah! Well, there we go. I'm glad I was accidentally useful. And, well, we're at half an hour of stream, and we've reached that deadly point where I've run out of things to say. So... How's everybody doing? Are you having a good time? I'm glad I could entertain. I could tell you about the story of there was a large spider in my bedroom yesterday, and then I dealt with it, and now it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. I mean, one could joke about that, but that's a true thing that happens, at the very least in this country, where you have a cup of tea, and you put it down, like, on like a desk or something, and then you're not sure if you've drunk it, and you go back to check on it later, and you realise you have drunk it, and then you get sad. That happens to me a lot. How long am I planning to stream for? Somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. It depends on when dinner's ready, really, because it's Sunday, and so dinner is ready at a weird time, and it's dinner, and it's traditional Sunday dinner, and yeah... Best meal of the week. Fun times indeed. So... What's the weather like in Denmark? Because, like, for the past, like, year and a half, I did live in the northern end of this country, which I think is about on the same latitude, as one of the major cities in Denmark, but I don't remember which one. I could be completely mistaken, because I'm really bad at geography. Because, I've been to Denmark, but only for, like, an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because I was getting a connecting flight, because I was flying from Gothenburg City Airport, which is a crap airport in my experience, to Copenhagen, and then from Copenhagen to Heathrow, I think. In the same way that when I was coming back from Eurovision, I was going from Arlanda to Oslo, and then from Oslo to Heathrow, so... shit happens, Icewind Dale 64. It's the circle of life. Nah, Lion King. And it's hot in Spain. Wow, I never would have guessed. Yeah, I can kind of sympathise, because the weather here in the UK has kind of been a bit crazy as well. Because, like, if you were with me in April, you will have known that, like, towards the end of April, we had these random snow showers, and then we had this massive heat wave, and then we had a load of storms, and then another heat wave, and then more storms. Like, yesterday, I think, there was this crazy, aggressive storm, and then today it's been, like, kind of pleasantly warm, but nearly too hot. So, that's a thing that's been happening. Leicester. One of those places where they have names. Like, that's one thing that I kind of like about England especially, where we have all of these place names and none of them are pronounced the way you'd expect. Like, at least with places like, you know, Germany, Dusseldorf is more or less pronounced the way it's spelled, and Berlin, and all the others. And, Denmark in my experience as well, because, you know, Copenhagen or Copenhagen or something like that, I don't know Danish. And, you know, Horsens and Herning, I can't quite do the accent, but, like, you know, more or less, you look at a place name, it's pronounced the way that, it's pronounced the way you'd expect, but then you get to England, and then you have Leicester, and Bicester, and Towcester? No, Leicester, Bicester, and Toaster, that's beautiful. Copenhagen? I can't quite do the because I was taught Swedish, but, like, Swedish isn't, like, out of the three, Swedish is the most different compared to Danish. Like, Danish and Norwegian at least have the same alphabet, and then Swedish has an equivalent alphabet, because, like, Sweden has the A with umlaut and O with umlaut instead of the O with a line through it and the A and E fused together, but I don't know, I've not been formally taught Danish. I think the most experience that I have with Denmark is the Let's Player formerly known as Keith, the Fiction Addiction guy, Esh. He's great fun. I went to Copenhagen for like an hour and a half once, and there was one other connection to Denmark that I could. Oh yeah, Scandinavia and the world. There was thunder and lightning, and it was less than exciting, just like the song. I suppose that depends on the... Well, addressing this comment here, just trying to think of how to think about it. Yes, I'm having to double think. I'm having to think about how to think. Oh, is that like... Is there a clip of it out already that's like a 20-second teaser of it or something? Because, I don't know, we did have that once before in that Europe Scala 8 had a national final for Japan in the 8th edition, and the song that won that was Bentley Jones's Evolve, but at the time of the national final, the song hadn't been released, so we used the teaser trailer for it, for the recap of the national final, and then we used the actual song in the final recap. So, it's not unheard of, but I don't know. And to address this comment, I have no business being offended by it, because I have no connection to Norway and Denmark. Just, in a similar vein to that, in my experience, Portuguese sounds like Spanish, but spoken with a Russian accent with a mouthful of vodka and mashed potatoes, but, like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, that's just how I feel as someone who's learned Castilian, but not Portuguese. So, yeah. Yes. Jutland, that's... Isn't there, like, what... I don't know whether it's Danish or Norwegian or some other language, where it's spelled like Jyll Lland or something like that, and then it's just anglified as Jutland, because that's how it ends up getting pronounced or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about Denmark. It's just... Oh, the potatoes are real. That's how you summon an Irish person, apparently. And this comment here, I am not familiar with the name, so I'm afraid not. Why, should I? Is this something that I should be aware of? Because it's something that I'm not aware of. And a national final. Typically with the YSC, it's just pick a country that no one else has picked, and then get a load of songs, put together a recap and or a playlist, preferably both, and then people vote. Okay, Sebastian, go and have fun with your life. It's probably going to be Wednesday, by the way. With the national final, the way most people do it, at the very least, the way I did it, and the way Europe Scala 8 did it, and at least one other person, you have 50% jury vote, which is your own personal votes, and then 50% public vote, which is like anyone else who votes in the national final. You combine all of their votes into a single scoreboard, and then the top 10 of that, or whatever, gets 12, 10, 8, and so on, and then add that to your personal 12, 10, 8, whatever. But that's just how I do it. That doesn't necessarily mean... Well, Icewind 64, that's what I just explained. So, yeah, just to recap, you just have to collect a load of songs for the country in question, and then put them in a playlist and make a recap. You can do one or the other, but it is kind of arsey if you do neither and just expect people to look up the video, so at least put them into a playlist, preferably do a recap as well. And honestly, I think Europe Scala 8's national finals do it best, because, well, she's done several of them at this point. I did one once, but I called it Eurovision Battle Royale because I was using a whole load of different countries. That's not normal. That's just something that I was doing at the time because it was, I think, the 4 countries that I'd sent songs for in the past, plus 3 new ones, and then I was going to send the top 2 because I was eligible to send 2 songs in the edition I was doing that for. So basically, I just recommend looking up the national finals from previous YSCs, because they're really good examples. Although, most national finals are just for one country, but there have been 2. I did one, and Upscalaway did one that was for more than one country, but that's just, like, I don't recommend doing that, because, like, you have to make sure that all of these countries aren't going to have songs sent for them by other people. So, just a thing to think about. I know I can't explain it perfectly, but... well, I've heard some good songs that are from Denmark. Like, now, this totally isn't a hint or anything, and I don't even know if I'm saying her name right, but I do absolutely love Karma Town by Stina Bramson, I think is how it's pronounced, or Stein, or Stina. That's a good song. I like it. No hints or anything. I don't know if it's overused in online song contests though, because I do kind of have a policy against allowing overused songs into the YSC, but I'm not, like, I don't take part in other contests anymore, apart from the Dream Song contest, so I don't really have my finger on the pulse as much as I used to as far as what's overused, so... And to be fair, if you're constantly immersed in Danish music, you're probably going to find a load of good songs that most people won't have heard of, like, from outside Denmark, so I'd imagine it would totally be worth the effort. Well, we have actually had Lucas Graham in the YSC before. We had 7 years old before it was cool. We had it before it went viral or whatever. Yeah, it did. That was back in the 2nd edition, before I properly had a grip on how to song contest. So, yeah. And it's just one of the universal truths of song contests. Katy Perry can represent Portugal, and we just don't question it. Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't think anyone else has asked for Australia yet. So, If you send me a message, then I'll have it in writing as definitely confirmed as reserved for you. And I think, although I will say, I think I have a song picked out for Antarctica in August, which is Australian, so I may have to snipe that one from you if you intend to use it in a national final, but we'll see. Voting in national finals, have Norway. I'd rather not have yet another dependent territory. But, like, I know I'm in no position to say, oh no dependent territories, because, I mean, we have Åland, we have the Faroes, we have Greenland, we've got Gibraltar. I'm in no position to say don't, but, like, I'd personally prefer it if you had Norway, but, I mean, at this point, it's anyone's game. Voting in national finals, it's entirely up to you, is my honest answer. I personally, like... yeah, I think I do have Spain reserved for you for August, Alphon. So, yeah, the way voting works in national finals, the way I do it is I have, like, a combined top 10 from all the public votes, and then from that top 10, turn that into a scoreboard, and then add my own personal top 10, make it 50-50. But it's entirely up to you how you do it, really. In my national finals, I prefer sending 11 songs in the national final, so that whenever you, when you vote, you have to have a top 10 and one person that you give nothing to. That's just how I do it, but that's, like, it's entirely your call. And... I mean, Scotland does have a load of really good artists, like, Amy MacDonald, and Foxes, and Katie Tunstall, I think, and the rest. Yeah, see, originally, I hadn't wanted the Faroes or Gibraltar to take part, but it's come to the point now where there are people who want to send songs for countries that are already taken, so I'm having to find these exceptions to wiggle people in to get them what they want. So, realistically, I want... one thing that I will not budge on is the UK is going to stay the UK until Scotland has an independence referendum, at which point the UK will probably still be the UK, but then Scotland can take part separately, but for the moment, the UK is staying as a whole. Kaliningrad, is that the bit that's between Poland and Lithuania? Because I forget what that one's called, if not. And, Bornholm and Svalbard, I kind of wouldn't want to allow, because... but I can't really say no if enough people want to send Norwegian songs. And, like, I probably would have more of a leg to stand on as far as saying, you know, don't send for this country, if we didn't have the Åland Islands, because the Åland Islands were sent in the first edition before I took control of the contest, so I'm in no position to say, you know, don't send for dependent territories. Plus, I mean, Antarctica, that's kind of a huge red letter here, like, I'm sending for Antarctica, the ultimate dependent territory, so, I mean, someone's sending for Uganda in the next edition, and I was kind of hesitant about that, because the song they're sending, I've seen it win an online song contest before, and also, I don't know, doesn't Uganda have some, like, strange laws regarding LGBT? But, like, then again, the YSC is meant to just be for fun and not political, so, like, I can't say, you can't send for so-and-so because it's against politics. I don't want to offend people, is what I'm trying to get at. So I don't know if people would be offended if I let Uganda take part, or if I let them not take part, you know? In the same way that someone wanted to send for North Korea. I'm fairly sure they're in the chat, I just don't remember which one of you it was, because I'm really good like that, but someone wanted North Korea, and I was hesitant to allow it because, again, I don't want to offend people. That's kind of my main goal. I want people to have fun without being offended, so I don't want to cause any harm. It's just a matter of finding that social harmony. And the other one is the Vatican City. I don't want them taking part because, okay, this is going to sound like a huge stretch, but it's unrealistic, even though I send for Antarctica, and that's the biggest stretch on the planet, but, like, and I want to say this, until the Vatican takes part in Eurovision, I'm not going to let them in the YSC, because it just, to me, it's always seemed to, like, the other countries, independent territories, I'm willing to, like, stretch my imagination a bit, but the Vatican, I can just not see it happening. Like, it's nothing personal against the Vatican as a country, because, I mean, you know, as long as you're not hurting anyone else, believe what you want. But it's just, given the nature of their country, they just wouldn't want to compete. And North Korea similarly, because as a country, they just, I feel like it would cause more offense than non-offense. And then, yeah, like, with regards to this comment, like, this is why I'm hesitant about the US and British Virgin Islands, and, you know, Jersey, Guernsey, the Caymans, Bermuda, the Isle of Man, the Isle of Wight. Well, that's a funny thing, by the way. Like, I could get a train to the next town over from here, and I wouldn't be able to use the library there, but I could go all the way down to the Isle of Wight and use a library on the Isle of Wight, and that's perfectly fine, because it's part of this county, and that's just bizarre. See, there are some online song contests that allow the Vatican to borrow from Italy, because, well, it's surrounded by Italy. But for me, it's just like, unless it's the Pope singing, then kind of, just give it the swerve. I mean, we have had quite a few obscure countries take part in the YSC before, because, like I said, we had Chile once, obviously we've got Antarctica at the moment, we had Iran a couple of times, obviously we've just had Iraq, we've had Sri Lanka twice, I think, and obviously Kazakhstan. We've not had any of the other Istans, though, just Kazakhstan, I think, unless you count, like, Ermenistan, which is Armenia, and, that's Azerbaijani for Armenia, I think, and Hayastan, which is Armenian for Armenia, and Yunanistan, which is Greece. But unless you count those, I think the only Istan we've had is Kazakhstan. I think. Never had India, which surprises me. Oh yeah, we had Saudi Arabia in the second edition as well, and they came second, then disappeared. We've had Lebanon twice, I think. We've only ever had Monaco once, and also, here's fun. Without looking it up, off the top of my head, there's one fully independent European country that's never taken part in the YSC, and I don't want to see if the chat can work out which one it is. Because, as of this edition, there is only one. Oh yeah, Zambia, that's another one that's happening. But, yeah, off the top of my head, there's only one, because Monaco used to be one of them, but aside from the Vatican, there's one country that's eligible for the YSC that's never taken part, that's fully independent, no questions asked. Well, I mean, we have had the Philippines take part once before with Marlisa and Stand By You, which is a very good song. Like, I headcanon that Australia would have sent that to Junior Eurovision if they'd taken part 1 year earlier. Malta we've had a couple of times. But... Now, it would be silly if I allowed, like, the South Island of Malta and Gozo to take part separately, because that would just be stretching it much too far. Now we've had San Marino. Well, San Marino won once. if you can believe it. But I'm glad that I've got people engaged in this little game of mine. Because you never know, someone might turn up in another country that I'm not thinking of, but... No, we've had Kosovo take part, and I don't know if, like, officially the UK recognises Kosovo's independence, so I suppose I should, I just don't want to offend people, so... And I suppose I should clarify, I'm not counting Abkhazia, South Ossetia, Nagorno-Karabakh, Transnistria, or Liberland in this little thing. No, we've had Cyprus, and we've had Georgia. We only had Georgia once, but we've had Georgia. So... Oh, this is fun, because, I've played this game before, guess which European country I'm thinking of pertinent to the YSC, and I took my parents about 45 minutes to work out that I was referring to Finland once, so... In this instance, we've had Finland take part, so it's not them. I'll give you that one for free. Yeah, the country I'm thinking of... Yep, Anton Trusler got it. The former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia has never been in the YSC. Someone did nearly send them once, but then they changed their mind, so never had them. I'm sure now that I've said that, someone's gonna immediately want to send for them, but... yeah, I know. I don't know how you pronounce Liberland, but I have heard of it. And where is Sealand, by the way? Because Sealand's a fun country, because it's like this oil rig that was occupied once, and nowhere in the world recognizes it as independent apart from Germany, because Germany went to reclaim it, which counted as an invasion, and in order to invade, they had to legally recognize it as a country, and so that's why Sealand is a country. Oh, I knew it, Jamie. You keep on climbing over hills. Right now, you're following your dreams. Kind of sad that Beret didn't send the slightly Spanish version of Say Yay to Eurovision, but it's whatever. Isn't Byzantium like the old name of Constantinople, which was then renamed Istanbul? I don't know. I'm not good with that kind of history. Or any kind for that matter. I'm good with Eurovision history. Recent Eurovision history. Okay, I'm not good at history at all. I admit it. Oh. Is it? See, I kind of don't want to allow Sealand either, because the only country in the world that recognizes them as independent is Germany, and... I mean, there are all these weird countries, like, there's the Kingdom of Lovely, and there's the gay and lesbian Kingdom of the Coral Sea Islands, which is a mouthful in more than one sense, tee. And, like, there's that one bit in California that temporarily declared independence and then didn't, or something. Like, there are all these little countries where... I don't want to say I'd object to them taking part, necessarily, it's just... I don't want people sending for these random countries just for the sake of it. And I think, personally, I preferred Foolish Nana, but I did like them both. But I think Foolish Nana had more of an impact on me personally. Like, I liked it more quickly, so... See, I know it seems like huge double standards on my part to say, oh yeah, Orland's fine, the Faroes are fine, Greenland's fine, you know, Kosovo and Antarctica are all fine. But then... Oh yeah, there's the likes of the bit of Christiania, and Sealand, and Guernsey, Guernsey, Bermuda, the Virgin Islands, both British and American, and what haven't I said? You know, the gay and lesbian Kingdom of the Coral Sea Islands, and all these other countries that are kind of countries but kind of not. Well, the Kingdom of Lovely, that'll be a fun one. I don't think it exists anymore, but it did for a while. They have a really nice flag, to give it props where credit is due. And it's kind of funny. Between us, my parents and I own, like, a really tiny plot of land in Scotland. I think it's 20 by 10 feet, so 10 by 10 feet each, one for each parent, and then I'm going to inherit it when they die. And so, technically, I own a little bit of Scotland. I could declare it independent and have the tiny kingdom of Tessexia. But I think it's not allowed to be declared independent. It's just protected land that people can't build on, so I can't technically declare it independent, but I could, but I can't. But I could, but I can't, you know? So yeah. This just in, Tessex owns Scotland. And I haven't listened to Jamala's album, I've not had access to Jamala's album, but... I mean, if she's got anything on there that's as good as 1944, then I'd be willing to give it a listen. So, yeah. What am I doing? In fairness, though, I mean, it may have been a bit silly, but it was cute and it was fun. I have mentioned before, it's like in 2010, Spain had that pitch invasion, and in the 5 years that followed, they went through the 5 stages of grief. So, 2011, Que me quiten lo bailao, that was like, in denial, like, no, we'll send a happy song, it hasn't affected us at all that we had a pitch invasion or anything. 2012, anger, kind of. It's a bit of a stretch, but Quédate Conmigo is kind of like not angry, but like self-angry, like inwardly angry, I suppose. Total T, hello. And 2013, bargaining. Like, oh, no, if we send something really traditional and Celtic and El Sueño de Mofero, maybe we'll do well if we, we'll send this instead. And then 2014, not really sadness, but like emerging from sadness into 2015, acceptance. We probably won't do well unless we send a decent song, and that didn't work either. So, yeah, the Spain thing is like a theory that I've had ongoing for a couple of years, and it's very much a stretch, but it kind of works. And I won't be playing the head of delegation. Bleh. I won't be playing the head of delegation simulator on this stream because that would require me setting up like completely. I'd have to do weird stuff with my stream setup, and it would completely kill my frame rate, and it just wouldn't work out. So another time, but not this time, I'm afraid. But perhaps some other time. Like, what kind of cry? Like, happy cry or emotional cry, or oh my god, did we seriously send this song cry, or oh, she's so happy, it brings a tear to my eye because it's so cute. Yeah, I do hope that Spain starts doing well at Eurovision again, because they've sent some good songs. Now, I will throw my hands up and say, I don't understand what the hype was behind Quédate Conmigo, but people liked it apparently, so fair enough, but I don't know what all these weird gestures and noises are, but it's just something we're all going to have to live with. And just to go back to reacting to Jamala's album, what does podych even mean anyway? Or is it just a made-up word? Jamie, is that an actual thing, or are we getting silly here? And singing in English versus singing in one's own language. I think artists should be allowed to sing in however they want, because there are people who say, oh, no, bring back the language rule, and for me, I'm thinking, well, that's forcing people to write around restrictions, which severely limits the sort of songs they can send, and the whole thing with Eurovision is, if a song can chart, it's more likely to be genuinely popular, it's more likely to feel genuine, rather than this synthetic plastic song that was put together just for the contest and for no other reason. Like, you won't hear it outside of Eurovision ever. And if they're having to write around restrictions, the more restrictions they have to write around in order to get to the song, the further from reality it gets. So, artists, I think, should be allowed to sing in whatever language they want without restrictions. The junior Eurovision, I understand the language rule and I'm perfectly okay with, but in adult Eurovision, they should sing in whatever they like. So, yeah, just as a general thing, I don't think artists should be forced to sing it. In the same way that, I was a guest in one of the Eurotrip videos, or two of the Eurotrip videos. I don't think they've been released yet, but I was a guest in Elliot's videos, and we were discussing Festival Congas in Albania, and we kind of came to the agreement that Albania kind of, like, Festival Congas is fine for picking an artist, but not a song, because for the Festival Congas, they have to, like, they have the language restriction, they can only write in Albanian, and they have to write the song with an orchestra in mind, and some songs don't work with an orchestra. For some songs, it can add years. So, I think the only restriction they should have is that the song should be 3 minutes long, so that the show doesn't go on forever. But that doesn't mean that they can't write a song as long as they like and then cut it down to a 3-minute version. I just feel like the artist should be unrestricted. I think the only restriction that I'd say is that artists can only represent one country per year. So, you can't have, for example, for no particular reason, Calliope representing FYR Macedonia and, like, Germany, just for no reason at all. Because, you know, that's an artist representing more than one country, so that's not fair. I think that rule should also be applied to composers, because this is the main reason why I don't like Thomas Giersen, because he writes, this year just gone, for example, he knew he had this agreement with Cyprus that he was going to write Alter Ego for them, and then he went and stuck his oar in Georgia as well. No, an artist can't do that, so what's your excuse? Consciously deciding to represent more than one country, that's not fair. And Jamie, is that you don't have access to 2015, to your top 40 from 2015, or to Twitter? I suppose it does feel kind of a little bit cheaty when they hide backing singers. It's okay if they hide the backing singers, not out of view completely, but out of the main field of focus, so you can still see them, but you're not likely to look at them. So that's the point. I think Russia this year, they had 4 backing singers, I think, and they were all standing behind the thing that Sergei was climbing around on. And then, of course, they came up in front for the dancey bit, but they were hiding behind that most of the time. That's okay, I suppose. Why, thank you, Total T. I grew it myself. No, wait, that's my hair. Yeah, I do like this shirt. It's one of my favourites. Now, did Malta 2015 have any backing singers? Because I feel like she didn't. But 2016, though, felt like 2016 was the year where they just didn't have the backing singers on stage at all. Was that really the case, or were they just really good at hiding them? Because that, I feel, is kind of cheap. They should still be on stage, just not necessarily at the forefront of focus. Well, how do you mean, Alphon? Because, Oh, Anton, I approve of this message. There goes my snake bowling team. Oh well, just come right out in public and say it, Alphon. It would have to be publicly available so it can be in a public playlist, but other than that, it's fine. So, it just has to conform to all the other restrictions of being a YSC song. Incidentally, if ever I release music, then it's certainly in the YSC. It's eligible for the UK, Antarctica, and France because I have a bit of French heritage. And if the UK ends up splitting, then I'd be eligible for England and Scotland as well. So, just if ever I make music, you want to send it to another online song contest, them's the breaks. You heard it from me personally. And there is one other song that I've been working on by myself, which is kind of sort of a cover of music that one of my friends did, but it's kind of it kind of is a cover and it kind of isn't, because I've rejigged the backing track a little bit, and I've recorded it a couple of times and I can't get it the way I want it, so it's going to be quite a long time before I send that to if I ever send it to the YSC, that'll be It's going to be a long time from now. I want to make it perfect, so... Theoretically, in the YSC, if you make your own music, you could theoretically send it for anywhere because it's the artist's own wishes, but that would kind of be a little bit... because... doesn't really make sense, so... We'll just go with blood heritage and stuff, so... Yay, quarter Scottish. A tiny little bit French in there somewhere. So yes, original music in the YSC, by no means prohibited, it's just... send it once it exists. Well, yeah, Dustin Turkey was nearly disqualified, but wasn't Dustin himself the 7th person, and he was a puppet, so there were only 6 people? Well, I don't know if there was ever formally a rule that says that a song has to have lyrics. In the in the ESC, in the Eurovision, a song has to have lyrics. In the YSC, I don't think there's such a rule that exists. I think you can just send a song that's instrumental. Because we've had nearly instrumental songs before, because we've had Levels by Avicii, we've had Animals by Martin Garrix, and we had Whistling Dave by Scooter, which has 2 words, and those that are at the very end. So, it doesn't have to have lyrics, I suppose, it's just songs that have lyrics tend to do better. I'm not entirely sure what you're asking, Alphon, but I think the answer's yes. Well, I mean, you say that, Jeremy, but have you heard the version where they, the song's completely the same, except instead of the vocal hook, they have "It's a me, Mario," and then they remix the main drop of the song so that it's the Mario theme tune, because that's a thing. I don't know what you have to look up to find it, but it's a thing that exists, trust me. Kind of amusing. I hate how pale I look in direct sunlight, by the way. That's something that I've lamented for many a month, but it's a thing that I'm suffering under right now. I look so pale, and I'm actually comparatively tanned in person. That's one thing. I remember when the Hunger Games films came out, people on Tumblr were complaining like, "Oh, no, Katniss is described as having olive skin, why are they getting a white actress to play her?" Like, I have olive skin. This is olive, it just doesn't look it because of the direct sunlight. Like, this looks pale as fuck, but out of... I guess just because of the camera. Like, my skin is olive skin. It's somewhere on that spectrum anyway. Like, I'm white. It's olive, but white, like... Tumblr, am I right? I guess so? I'm not familiar with Hisaishi. And Eurovision 2016 DVD, I have not. I don't collect the DVDs. I collect the CDs. He says, gesturing to I keep the CDs just on a rack that's just behind the computer in that direction. But I don't collect the DVDs because I mean, what's the point? It's all online anyway. Top 37. Will oh, Tumblr. Is that... Wait. Top 37. I would say, is that 2000... Okay. While I'm waiting for some clarification on Jamie there, my first Eurovision... Right. It's... Okay, 2014, I'll address that in a moment. My first Eurovision, well... There's not really a clean-cut answer to that, because... I remember my parents calling me downstairs once and asking me to watch what was on TV, and I don't remember. I remember hearing a song that was like something about the strings of one's heart, and I remember it representing Croatia, but it couldn't have been because that was a different country, I think, and that was like 2001. But I didn't actually sit down and watch the contest until 2007. Like in 2007, I sat down and watched the final with my family, and that's when I properly got into it. And then I watched the final in 2008, and then my father and I watched the semi-finals in 2009. And then my mother and my father and I started watching the semi-finals in 2010. Then we discovered the Eurovision website in 2011, national finals in 2012, and it's just kind of been a snowball from there. And at some point I went back and got the CDs from 2005 and 6 as well, so... And 2016 was the first Eurovision I went to see in person, so... Kind of don't plan on doing that again, unless I'm an artist taking part in Eurovision. Not that it isn't fun, it's just kind of stressful. So, yeah, my 2014 top 37, I wouldn't be able to spontaneously put them in any particular order right now, but I suppose I can do that thing that I do sometimes where I whip out the CD and just go down the back and see how I feel about them. So, Albania I liked, Armenia I really liked, I do stand by that being one of my favourites. Austria was really good, I'm glad that it won, I suppose. Azerbaijan bored me, Belgium was pretty but kind of boring, I liked Belarus. Switzerland was really fun. Germany I liked. I don't really see why it didn't do that well. Denmark was fun, but some people got really offended when I said it didn't sound like a winner, and it didn't sound like a winner, and it didn't win, so that's what I say to that. Estonia I didn't enjoy. Spain, I liked Dancing in the Rain more than I liked Mass, so I'm glad they sent that personally. Finland was okay, but a little bit generic in my opinion. France I really liked. The UK, brilliant song that year. Shame about the live performance, but whatever. Georgia, I was one of the 2 people who liked Georgia's song in 2014. Like, I wasn't gonna delude myself into thinking it would do well, I just enjoyed it personally. Greece was kind of a guilty pleasure. Hungary was really good, Ireland was really good, but the, I'll catch up with the chat in just a second, by the way. Ireland, like, the live performance kind of let it down, but it was a good song. Israel, as well, very good. Live performance was okay, and I think that's what slipped it into the non-qualifiers bracket. I've never been to a national final, if, you know, just to catch up with the chats around there. I've not been to a national final, although I did go to the, Greatest Hits show in 2015. Yeah, I watched all of the Eurovisions live, and then I went back and watched the semi-finals of 2008 on the Eurovision.tv thing at some point a couple of years ago. Okay, I suppose I should clarify the Tumblr Snack thing. It depends on how many sketches you'll be willing to do, really. I just recommend going and watching the Tumblr Snack application video. I think it's the posted video on my channel at the moment. So just watch that. Comment under the video that you want to take part, and then you can. At the moment, I plan on Tumblr Snack 5 just being one long video with a load of people taking part in it, and it's just a matter of what people are willing to do and stuff. So anyway, what was I up to? Iceland, fun staging, didn't really care for the song. Italy, I liked. I mean, the live performance wasn't that great, but I liked it. Lithuania, I didn't like until after the show. Like, I thought it was okay. Latvia, I thought was really adorable. Moldova was very underrated. Montenegro was beautiful. FYI Macedonia, bad performance, decent song. Malta, didn't enjoy, didn't see why it did so well. Netherlands, I like the Netherlands 2014. I understand from a cinematographic point of view why it did so well, but I didn't really care for the song. Norway bored me, but I don't know why. Poland, I think, was great fun, and that's not just the boobs talking. Portugal was really cute. Miracle was overrated for Romania. Russia was okay. Like, it was one of my preferred songs from Russia, not necessarily one of their best, but it was alright. Sweden, I think, was overrated. Slovenia was really pretty, and I don't know why I didn't like it when I first heard it, because it was really good. San Marino, I don't understand why people hated on it so much, because it was everything they wanted from Tessellating with all the stuff they didn't want, and yet people were just like, oh, no, not her again. I think it was a good song. Ukraine was really good as well. Like, I don't know whether it deserved the top 10 necessarily, but it was still pretty fun. And then there's the bonus track Rainmaker, because I don't know why that's included on the CD, but whatever, that's a good song as well. Yep. And Yuri, I will never learn how to pronounce that. But I didn't much care for it either. I thought it was okay, but not a top 3, not a top 5, maybe a top 10 at best. And I haven't heard any of Hungary's songs before 2005, but I did really like the Hungarian song for 2005. Again, I'm going through the chat just while I catch up after looking at the CD. I don't see what the problem was with Pioneer, personally, because, like, everyone loved it in Adal, and then it won, and then people just stopped caring about it, and then it came back at Eurovision, did okay, and people suddenly hate the staging. I don't see why. Like, okay, they could have rehearsed the timing a little bit, but I don't really understand what the problem was, personally. In the same way that people really didn't like the staging of the song Crazy in the Icelandic national final for 2016, because I really liked the song, and I think the staging was a really good representation of the music video, but everyone else was just creeped out by it, so I liked it. Yeah, Lithuania's Neon Tutu. That was Barbara Dex Award well earned. Although that said, with the Barbara Dex Award, I don't know why Barbara Dex. I didn't think her dress looked that bad. I haven't seen it in great detail, but from what I've seen, it just looked like an ordinary dress. Don't see why it was considered so bad. Oh well, I suppose that's my homework for this stream. Go and listen to Hungary's 1994 entry. Yeah, my current favourite Hungarian entry, though, is 2005. Forog Vilag. Good song. Good song. Shame it opened the show, or thereabouts, because it could have done really well. Well, I think 2014, the staging, I think, worked for the song. Although, as far as interpretive dance depicting, depicting abusive relationships goes, well, I use that in a loose sense. Depicting people being abused, I think Serbia this year had the best choreography for that, but Hungary for 2014 did it, I think, fairly well. And yeah, I don't know much about Celine Dion's outfit from that time she took part, but I recall it was ridiculously poofy and kind of awkward to look at. I don't know. My expertise with Eurovision, 2000 I'm not really sure when my properly professional approach to Eurovision starts, but I think from, let's say from 2010 backwards, my my expertise kind of dries up, and then by the time you get to 2004, I know next to nothing. So there are little fits and starts of information that I'm aware of from the early 2000s, but it's not until 2005 where my knowledge starts increasing as you go, each year. Oh, what was wrong with 2012 with Hungary? Because I think that was one of their best, although, not brilliant, but musically it was one of their best. Lyrically, a bit questionable, but still good. Oh. Just being abbreviated there to Barbie Dex, that reminds me, there's a woman who works in the same place that my father works, and she's from Slovenia apparently, and her name is Barbie Killer, which just makes me think of like a plastic doll who has a knife. She's Barbie Killer Barbie. Hey. Silly, I know. Well, I think they worked really well with the live staging and everything, although, as I recall, in 2012, the only thing that was wrong with Hungary's staging in 2012 was there was that guy who had the was it a synthesizer, the thing with all the knobs and buttons on it? There's one point where there were a couple of wubs in the song, and so he hit the thing really hard, and it almost tipped the entire stand over, and that was kind of hilarious. But I don't see what the problem with it was. I thought it was really nice and stylized. It's just that the name of the group is going to be lost on a lot of people as the years go by. People are going to think, compact disco, what does that mean? That's what CD stands for, you silly young person. What's a CD? Christ! Or maybe that's just me. I still refuse to accept Blu-rays as the victors of the format wars, because no. VHS and DVD. Nyeh. And then there's Laserdiscs, and I don't know if they're actually real or not. They're just a thing that happened. Maybe they didn't happen. Maybe I dreamed it. Because I'm good at dreaming. It's the thing that I do. Dreams, they are a thing you can have. Oh dear, oh dear. Is everyone still doing well, by the way? Because we're going for nearly an hour and 20 minutes, and I think dinner might be ready soonish, but I don't know. The floppy disk. Back in the days where people were proud to have 3.5-inch floppies. Okay, so yeah, Montenegro 2012 was kind of a thing. I'm not sure what to say about it, really. Malta 2012, I didn't know there was any hate for Malta 2012. And 2014, I don't hate it, I just didn't really enjoy it. And Ide Croci, I don't know, I feel like the final isn't remiss without it, but I do think it was an enjoyable song. And yeah, I saw that Tumblr post about the 3D printed save button. And I've seen someone on Twitter as well saying about how someone asked why we say hang up the phone. It's because you hang up the phone, you silly plastic rectangle. No, that's not a phone, it's a plastic rectangle. Why can't phones be like they used to be? Anyway, out of 2014, either Armenia or the UK, because for that year, I didn't include the UK on my list, because that just made it an easy, X number of, 9 songs per week, because that was part of Vader. I was doing 4 weeks at a time, so I didn't count the UK that year, but the UK would have been my winner, but Armenia as well. I think so. But yeah, I think 3D printed save button is possibly the most cringy of those. There's like, there are people asking why do we say hang up the phone, and why is the icon for the phone app that weird shape? Like, no, that's what a phone is supposed to look like. Well, I mean, it's a month and a day until I turn 20, so make of that what you will. Oh, and that's a point. I mean, you lovely people are welcome to, like, buy me stuff on Steam or whatever while the Steam summer sale's still ongoing. Now, I wouldn't ask you to do that. If you want to do it, that's your business, but, I mean, I'm not going to insist on it. But, yeah. I mean, I could say my birthday's coming up, but it's kind of not. It's still an entire month away, but actually, that's a point. Hang on. I don't know if this is... Okay. Oh my goodness, indeed. The first Sunday of August is on the 7th, after my birthday. Wow. Now, let's see if I don't fuck up this initialism, because I remember there was one stream recently where somehow I misread HRH for Hard Rock Hallelujah. Somehow I misread that as Harry Matter Hurry, even though Matter begins with an M. I'm guessing you're talking about You're Not Alone for the UK. I believe that was, like, 13th, 14th, 15th, kind of? Because the top 10 for me was... Well, the top 20 was really close for me this year. I think it was definitely the first time that the UK's not been in my top 10. Well, of the years that I've put my top 40, 30, whatever's on YouTube, it's the first time the UK's not been in my top 10. Like, they would have been, but there are so many other good songs, so... I did enjoy it, and the staging was great, and having seen the jury final, their vocals were perfect, their stage presence was fine. I don't understand why they did so badly with the televotes. And also, when we got 12 points from the Maltese jury in the final, I screamed so loud right into Europe's Galloway's ear, and then I couldn't speak for, like, the next 12 hours. It was kind of awesome. Which is why, if you watch my vlog from May, when we're in the Norwegian airport and I'm waving at the wall, I sound really croaky because I could not speak. And Europe's Galloway could back me up on that if she were here, but she's away doing something at the moment. So, yeah, I managed to completely throw out my voice by screaming when we got 12 points from Malta. That's the first time since Bulgaria 2011 that we got 12 points from anywhere, and it made me happy. But yeah, I liked it, so... And as I recall, in the final, there was, I think, one country... Yeah, you are here after all, Lozzie, I was just talking about you. Oh yeah, okay, hello. But yeah, I could have sworn there was at least two countries where, in the voting for the final, one of them was like, and 12 points go to the Netherlands. Like, you tease, you were about to say the UK, and then you gave it to the Netherlands. And there's someone else who was talking about Ukraine, except they said the Ukraine. Like, no! It's they give points to us! Anyway, Drama Queen and Come See Come Sa. Again, it's kind of hard to call because Eurovision 2007, like, that was before we had two semi-finals, so I don't know. Because Come See Come Sa and Drama Queen were both good songs. I feel like out of those two, I think Come See Come Sa probably would have deserved to qualify comparatively more of the two, but I don't know, honestly. And Drama Queen, for me, kind of a guilty pleasure, I will admit. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was very camp. But bearing in mind, this is 2007, I didn't see the live performance. I only watched the final in 2007 because I was young. I was puppa. And now I'm a big old doggo. Except I'm not. I'm actually more of a lion, personally, because meow. Did it... I'm guessing there was Dansk Melody Grand Prix in 2007. Did it win that? Or was this just like an internal selection because screw you? Because yeah, it was a guilty pleasure for me. But I can see why it didn't go over too well. It was fun, it was camp. And, Lozzie, now that you're here, do you want me to go through the YSC semi-final results again, just to recap for anyone who may have missed it, even though I'm fairly sure that everyone who's here now was also here earlier in the stream, so everyone else will have already seen, but it's fine. No one would object to seeing the full results again. It'll save you having to rewatch the archive, which you're probably going to do anyway, so, I don't know. It's your call, Lozzie Sausage Poo Poo, as I like to call you sometimes. Which for some reason reminds me of Hotline Bling. Yeah, used to call me on my phone. Oh, Total D. Huh. In this edition of the YSC, I think in the final, the Faroe Islands, Japan, and maybe Antarctica deserve to do better. I don't think anyone really necessarily deserved to do worse. I wasn't the biggest fan of Åland, so if I had to give an answer, I'd say maybe Åland. And then in the semi-finals, I think Belgium was overrated, personally, but and I do think Colombia did deserve a bit better. Oh, yeah, Gibraltar I think was too overrated relative to my opinion, but yeah. No one's gonna mind if I disappear off the face cam for a minute. So there's semi-final one. Make of it what you will. Honestly, by the way, I'm surprised that Hungary didn't qualify. But yeah. I do think Colombia deserves to do a little bit better, because it's a very sweet video, very sweet song. So just to recap, there's the first semi, if it's visible. We'll continue digesting this like we did earlier if you want. And Laura, let me know when you're ready for me to switch over to semi-final 2, just so you can absorb your informations through the screen. Just, slap your face against the screen and then just absorb all the information into your face, and then you just have this spreadsheet just tattooed on your face permanently. Yeah, I'm nervous for Antarctica in the next YSC, because I really, really, really want Antarctica to qualify in the next edition, and I was saving my song for next time for the next edition because I didn't think there were going to be semi-finals. And now there are. So I really want Antarctica to qualify, so if you could make that happen, I'd appreciate it, but of course, I can't tell you how to vote. Plus, we don't even know what the songs are like yet, so... And, yeah, the first and last people to vote gave Turkey 12 points. Well, the first and last finalists vote, I should say. Well, aside from me. Because I think they just liked it ironically. And there's semi-final 2 for you, Laura. But yeah, also, I'm thinking, unless we have, a huge wave of people joining the next edition, I think the semi-finals, we are going to go back to having either 7 or 8 qualifiers from each semi-final. It's just this edition had 10 because we had so many semi-finalists, but in the next edition we might go back down to 7 or 8 per semi-final. That's just how it's looking at the moment. That may be subject to change. We shall see. But I think it's just because Anton mentioned debuting in a semi-final edition, so... Why? What? Oh no, what? What's happening? Did someone die? Is everyone in the chat okay? Should I call a doctor? Do you need CPR? I'm just slightly surprised that... Okay, Laura, I'll just switch back to facecam then. I'm just surprised that, that the person who sent Serhat for Turkey sent chocolate flavour and not Je m'adore, because I feel like Je m'adore would have done at least a bit better. Each to their own, I suppose. Oh, yeah. Oh, on that bombshell, people just... Dear, oh dear. But, yeah, in all previous special editions, it was only 7 qualifiers per semi-final, apart from the 24th edition, which was slightly bigger, so we had 8 qualifiers per semi-final. And I think we're probably going to have 7 or 8 in the next edition, because, bearing in mind that at the moment I think we have 30 songs, which means 14 songs in each semi-final, plus the 2 auto-qualifiers. And so, if we have 10 qualifiers from each semi-final, then it seems like there's hardly any point in having semi-finals. But we don't want a final that's 30 songs long. So, if we have 7 qualifiers per semi-final, then that's a neat half and half at the moment. And if we have 8, then that's just over halfway per semi-final. So, as I said, unless we have more people joining, that's what it's looking like at the moment. So, bring your best and vote Antarctica! Or, well, okay, like I said, I can't actually influence you, but I mean, it would be nice, just saying. I jest. I mean, vote for me if you like the song, of course, because that's one thing that like, this edition just gone has clarified in my mind, because, like, I was slightly worried in the past that some people, like, might not vote for Antarctica because they didn't think it's a serious participant, but it is, so... I think that it works better having 2 semi-finals. I don't like the idea of having a ridiculous number of auto-qualifiers, and... like, having the top 10 from the previous edition auto-qualify and then having 1 semi-final. It just seems like there's more of a point to it than the Turkvision semi-final. But, only just, you know? Because, like, in Turkvision, all the countries take part in the semi-final, and then all the countries take part in the final. So what's the point in having a semi-final? Okay, all the countries vote in the final, but, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't heard your song yet. And, yeah, a lot of people have reserved countries for next time. Like, it's crazy how fast people, like, a load of countries have been taken for next time, and it's, I don't even know how to feel with, although it is kind of funny. The 28th edition was the edition where every continent in the world took part, apart from Africa, and then this coming edition, it's like every continent in the world is taking part apart from South America, so just working our way around the world, but we'll never have a Europe free edition, I'd imagine. And my first instinct is to say no, but I honestly don't remember. I feel like we've had a Danish language song before, but if we have, I don't remember it. Because we've had a song in Faroese, so that doesn't quite count because it's a different language entirely. It's more similar to Icelandic than it is to Danish, as I recall. Honest answer, I don't know. We do have a page about it on the official wiki, though. So if you go to ovsc.com... No, ovsc.wikia.com/languages_in_the Eurovision Song Contest with underscores instead of spaces. I haven't, Jamie. I think the only songs that I've heard for the next edition... Well, off the top of my head, I've heard my own, and I think that's it. No, I've heard a bit of Europe Scalo 8's song, but not the whole thing. And I've heard a clip of the song from Uganda because it won a different song contest, but as far as I'm aware, those are the only ones that I know. But don't worry, of course, I'll listen to all of them when they take part in the contest, and obviously when I'm making the recaps and stuff. So, beautiful. Yeah, I will listen to them, so don't worry, because I vote just like everyone else. But yeah, I don't think I've heard many of the songs from next time, apart from my own, obviously. Yeah, I can't think of any that I definitely know that I know. I could open the official YSC notepad file and check, but I don't know what that would do to the stream, so... meh. My song for August? I don't remember what it's called, honestly. I'm just that well prepared. But I will share it with you at some point. But I mean, one YSC at a time. Well, okay, we'll have the first ever Danish language song then. Because I know we've had Norwegian before, but that's only similar, not the same, I know. It's funny, what kind of... Like, we've had this weird spread of languages. We've had, I don't know if we've had... I think we've had both Mandarin and Cantonese. I don't remember. We've had Latin, we've had Belarusian, we've had Quenya, and, Faroese, and Icelandic, I think. And apparently this is our first ever Danish. Which makes it sound like I'm saying this is our first ever Danish pastry. Yeah, these things happen. The first ever instance of Albanian and Spanish were both from the same song from Kosovo, so... the first ever English song was sent by Greece. But that's just because Greece was third in the running order, I think. Or something like that. Meh. Anyway, I'm running out of things to say, and I'm getting hungry, and it smells like dinner's nearly ready, so I am probably going to have to wind this stream down fairly soon, but it's been great fun. It's been very YSC heavy, but it's been a very fun stream, so... Can anyone say anything to convince me to stick around for a little while longer? The gauntlet has been thrown, the challenge has been issued. And now we wait for a response. Do share. Do share indeed, Mr. Ben. Well, Mr. Ben, as if by magic the shopkeeper appeared. Good times, good times. I think so, because I know Spain did come third with Mass Run before, but I feel like Foolish Nana may have got more points, I think? I don't know. Maybe I want to share my cookies. You don't know my life total, T. Okay, it got more points then. Yeah, that'll be the best result then. I haven't updated the list of countries. There's a separate countries page on the wiki that's like, it's got this table showing every country's first and most recent participation and their highest and lowest scores. I haven't updated that yet. I've updated everything else. So, well, everyone's got to go and eat. So, in the words of the immortal Tommy Wiseau, how about we go and eat Ha? Because I've never eaten Ha before. Is there a Ha restaurant around here? Oh, Nostalgia Critic. That's by the way, that's the only interfacing I ever have with films. Literally just Nostalgia Critic episodes, so I'm just not the film-going sort. Anyway, I suppose this has been a great stream. We haven't even had a single Jeff, which I'm really happy about. Maybe it's the blacklist of words, maybe it's the fact that I've got an entire brigade of moderators now. I don't know, but it's been great. It's been immense fun. And, well, thank you everyone for watching, as always. Well, oh yeah, of course, you need to go and eat your bed. Silly Australians eating duvets and the like. Yes, and goodbye to you, the most total of teas, the complete and balanced teapot. So yes, I have been and will continue to be Mr. Sir Lord Tess Hexagons. And I will see you in whichever video of mine you happen to choose to watch next, and it's been immense fun as always. Thank you everyone for watching. I love you all. I will tweet about you, but not necessarily @mention you, because I don't know how many of you I know on Twitter, and I don't want to leave anyone out. So I will mention on Twitter that this has been a good time, and you're welcome to favorite it and stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm outroing now, and it's been fun. It's been great. The next Sunday stream will be on the 7th of August, but there's going to be more Wednesday streams before then, which are most likely going to be on Wednesdays. I'm rambling. I will see you when I see you, you lovely, lovely people. Thanks for watching as always, and have nice lives. And yeah, Jamie, I'm sorry. You missed the outro. But it's been fun, though. There will be more where this came from. Teehee. But yes, see you when I see you. I've outroed like 5 times now. Goodbye. What is going on with my face? See you next time. I'm sure that'll make a beautiful GIF. Once again, I shall throw the gauntlet at you. And yes, Alphon, I shall check my email. Anyway, I'm still going. I've ended the stream and I'm still going. See you whenever.